Evil Under the Sea. Evil Under the Sea, yes.
Talk to me about that one a little bit. Again, what are you trying to deal with theme-wise or the character dynamic between Batman and Aquaman?
Basically, the theme of that show is Aquaman, as we've envisioned him, is kind of this... He's basically the kind of guy who... we didn't run away from Aquaman's nerdier roots. We kind of embraced it and said, he's really a nice guy.
Okay.
And he's a nice guy, he's a king. He doesn't have a bad word to say about anyone. He's just this big, boisterous kind of, enveloping kind of guy. Everyone he pulls into him. He's very charismatic. But he doesn't see the small picture. He doesn't see the details. And Batman is there, and he sees the details, and he doesn't like what he sees, and he's trying to get Aquaman to see the light about certain people, and Aquaman doesn't want to hear it. So their friendship is interesting in that, Aquaman has a great respect for Batman as a hero, and Batman kind of views Aquaman as kind of that friend who's a little bit too much, but, he's a great guy, so you hang out with him, but he's a bit over the top, so yeah, they have an interesting kind of, again, it's a different kind of friendship. It's not a rivalry of any sort, but it's just, like I said, he's one of those friends that, Batman has that, Batman knows that a lot of people can't stand this guy because he's kind of over the top, but Batman likes him, so. That's kind of,
what was that?
That's kind of the Cliff Notes version of it. It's a little more complicated than that, but what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, this is about as far removed from the hooked-handed guy.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Aquaman I got introduced to was just, not the barbarian King Arthur guy. He was, I mean, again, I don't think anyone's seen this version of Aquaman either, but we just literally went from, okay, if the guy's a king, how would he act, And so he's a bit, it's hard to describe him adequately, but I think he's another breakout character, and I'm predicting will be a fan favorite.
It's popped in my head, and again, I haven't seen any footage or anything from it, but it reminded me, the description of it anyways, kind of like Raiders of the Lost Ark with that character Sala.
He's Sala, exactly.
That's what popped into my head.
He's actually, thank you, that's who he is. He's exactly that. In fact, that's John Rhys Davies, right?
Yeah.
He would have been a good voice for him.
Yeah,
actually, John DiMaggio is a terrific voice, and now that you mentioned it, he's doing Sala. He's got that kind of quality to his voice, but anyway.
That's funny, because that is exactly when you're describing him, like, give me a hug, Batman,
Yeah, no, he's Sala, he's Voltan from Flash Gordon, he's that kind of guy.
Right.
So.
Very cool. Now, you mentioned, their friendship is this, their friendship is that. I think you said at the beginning of the conversation, are there going to be episodes where Batman's teaming up with somebody in which, as much of an edge that the show is going to have, is there going to be sort of an edgier relationship between him and the person he's teaming up with?
Yeah. I mean, there's characters like, we kind of mentioned some, but, like the Demon, he's not an easy guy to get along with, and, I'm trying to think now that you mention it.
James on the spot. Go ahead.
Well, it's not even on the spot. It's just my memory's bad. There's so much going. I've got 26 episodes running through my head at any moment.
Right.
But I can't even mention him. But I'll say a certain sidekick and Batman have tensions, and I'll leave it at that. But
Robin, Nightwing, who could it be?
I'm not talking.
You're not talking.
No.
You're very good at keeping it secret.
So yeah, there's a variety, and again, there's tensions from characters you wouldn't expect tensions from.